guys, my name is Megan J. Collins, and I'm so glad you clicked on this video. This is the second video in my series Character Questionnaires, which focuses on the characters in the book that I'm editing, Jäger, and this way you get to know the characters, who they are, what they like, what they don't like, before the book even gets published. That way you can get to know them a little bit beforehand to get a little sneak peek. Today we'll be going over the character Asher Vidal, who is the second main character. The main character is Edelweiss Grant. I already made a video for her, which should be in the description if I remember to put it in. So you can click on that, but you can watch either video in either order. It doesn't really matter. A character questionnaire is a thing that I use when I'm writing books. That way I get to know my characters, and that way I don't hopefully have any big plot holes. That way I can know their likes, dislikes, some of the main things in their life. That way I have it all written down and I don't have to rely on my memory. There will be a video that I plan on posting. It might be up now, that talks about how to make a character questionnaire and everything like that. If it is up, I'll put it in the description. And if it's not, then it'll be up in like a week or two. One thing to know about the character questionnaire that I do on these videos is I won't be answering all the questions on the character questionnaire, just because either A, they're kind of boring, or B, they're plot related and it will give you spoilers, so I can't really answer those questions. You'll have to learn those answers in the book. So with that being said, let's get on to the second main character, Asher Vidal. I will be reading off my laptop because there's a reason why I make the character questionnaires. That way it's written down and not all in my head. So let's start. So the book Jäger is a book about romance, magic, and supernatural creatures. As I said in the last video with Vice, she is a Jäger. I won't tell you what monster Asher is, but he is a monster. But I'm not going to tell you too much on that subject because I don't want to. Frankly, that's the main reason. You find out within like the first 100 pages of the book, but I don't want to, at least not at this given moment. Maybe I will later, but right now, no. Asher's first name, as you know, is Asher, and his last name is Vidal. His middle name is John, and some of his nicknames are Ashhole and Ashy. He personally does not really like nicknames, just because every time someone tries to give him a nickname, it kind of sounds like a naughty word. So he's not a big fan of that. Most people don't call him a nickname. They call him Asher because he doesn't really like it. His birthday is January 2nd, and he is 21 years old. Asher is 5'9". He weighs 130 pounds. He has more of a skinny build, and he has dark brown hair. And one of the biggest things about him is he has very icy blue eyes. Like, they are the main thing you notice on the boy is his eyes. His main distinguishing features is, like I said, his eyes, but he has like almost perfect teeth, but one tooth is just like slightly crooked. But those are the two main features you can notice on Asher. I will put a drawing of Asher here, or maybe the whole screen. I don't know what I'm going to do in post editing, just so you know what Asher looks like. Asher does have one scar on his left leg from when he broke his leg from tripping on a mole hole, so that was not a fun time for him. Asher typically wears more classic clothes that don't go out of fashion, so clothes with like collars or solid colors, just because that's more of his style. His ethnicity is he's Caucasian. He was born in America and has, for a good chunk of his life, lived in America. He's also lived in other countries. On his mom's side, he's half American, and on his dad's side, he's half French. And he does have a reading disability. He can read, he's just not the best at it, especially if it's reading out loud. You will not get Asher to read out loud. He does not like that. He does not like really reading in general, which is unfortunate because I love reading, but the boy does not like it. He does like audiobooks, and that's the only way you'll get him to read. If it's an audiobook, he'll happily read it. But if it's like a normal book, no, you're not gonna get him to read it. Personality, he's more of an optimistic person, and he's more introverted. He likes to be in his own little bubble, and he does like to hang out with his friends, but he only likes a small group of friends. If there's too many people, he's just like, no, I don't
don't really want to do this. I want to be in my own little corner.
Some of the habits he has is he'll cover his nose like this whenever he's stressed, and he'll tap his foot on the floor also. So that's one way you can always tell if Asher is very uncomfortable or just doesn't like what's going on. And personally, he does not like PDA. Not a fan of that. Said he likes to do acts of service. He's very much a giving person, not a touchy-feely person. Asher personally wants to be seen as a kind, trustworthy person who's trying to live like Jesus every day, and those are the main things that motivate him into his actions and what he does in the book. However, he does see himself as a very weak person who constantly needs other people to protect him, and he doesn't really think he could do very well on his own. Even though he is very introverted, he does need people in his life, and he just thinks he should probably be a bit stronger, that way he can actually help people instead of always rely on others. However, he is seen by most of the characters as being a very kind, devoted person who's very much follows his Christian beliefs, however, as a bit reserved and a bit closed off. His strongest trait is definitely his morals. The boy has a very good compass. He knows right from wrong, and he does not waver in that. There's a lot of these questions where he's just like flat up like, I don't do that. Nope, that's not my belief, I don't do it. So the boy has his morals and he always sticks to them. However, his weakest character trait is not saying what he really thinks. He's very much a reflection character. For example, Vice is very much of a reaction character. If something happens, she will make a reaction. She will do things on the fly and doesn't think about them too much. Whereas Asher is a reflection character. Something will happen and he'll think about it for a while and then maybe say something, but it's more of like a question of being like, wait, what is actually going on? He is not very competitive except when it comes to chess and math. Those the boy is a bit more competitive in, but he's not a sore loser, but he does like winning in those things. So definitely comes to chess and math, the boy wants to win. Like how I said earlier with him being a reflective character, he definitely takes time to consider things instead of make snap judgments like Vice does. Asher's personally more of an outdoors person instead of an indoors. He likes going outside to just clear his head instead of just being stuck inside all day. The sense that he most relies on is sight. He really likes to do wood carvings. That's one thing he loves to do, and he needs to see to do that. He's also a hunter, like for animals, not like how Vice is a Jäger, and so he also needs the sight to do that. Some of his obsessions is being religious, woodworking, math, design, and calculators. The boy loves calculators. He has a collection. He collects them. That's what he wants on all his birthdays, is he gets calculators. So we definitely know what Asher's getting for his birthday. The weapon that he uses in fighting is an axe, just because he grew up in Maine and it's there's a lot of lumber, and he just grew up with always an axe, so he knows how to use that. In my book, the monsters, they can always smell Jägers. They smell like whatever food is most delicious to them. And so when Asher smells a Jäger, he smells chocolate-covered oranges, because that's what his grandmother used to make for him when he was little. Okay, Asher's family and friends. His family is pretty big. It's also kind of weird, okay? He has his mom and dad, and then he has, I forgot how many siblings he has. He has 4 siblings. I almost said he has 5, but counting him, there's 5. Anyways, he has his mom, his dad, and his 4 siblings, Elizabeth, Simeon, Zipporah, and Reuben. They're all named Bible names because that's what his mom's very religious. A little too religious, to be honest, but you'll find out that in the book. However, unfortunately, all his family is now gone, so he's gone into lots of different families. He lived with like Navarre, who was a father figure for a while, and Chris, his sister, and then his other siblings because of the system was Chris, Gwen, and Chaz. Most of them are also gone now, or he just doesn't live with them. And instead now he lives with the Wilsons, which consists of Patrick, Sawyer, and Lark. And he loves living with them. They're great. A nice, wholesome family. So, yeah. His family, like I said, his family is a bit weird. It's kind of all over the place. He has kind of 3 different families. But all you need to know is
that he lives with the Wilsons now.
His perception of family is that it's very important. It's one of the things he values most, especially since so many of his family members are now gone. Anytime he's with his family members, he definitely cherishes those moments, and he will always put his family first. Like I said earlier, if you're counting just his biological siblings, he has 4 younger siblings. His sister Elizabeth, they were born the same year, so they're Irish twins. Then his brother Simeon, who was 4 years younger. Zipporah, or he called her Zippy, is 8 years younger, and then Reuben was 10 years younger. His best friends growing up was definitely his sister Elizabeth, that they were inseparable. Then it was Tommy, who was another friend of his, later Gwen, and now it's pretty much Sawyer. Sawyer is his main friend, and Vice is also his friend, but Sawyer is his main friend. Right now, Asher has a fish called Frankenstein, and he calls him Frank. The reason is whenever his fish dies, he always gets a new fish and he just calls him Frankenstein because he's magically alive again. But growing up, he also had a dog named Asparagus because his dog was a mutt, and when his dad found him, he was like, oh my goodness, that dog smells like pee after you eat asparagus. So they named him Asparagus because he smelled bad. Hopefully, if you have a dog, it doesn't smell bad. Asher's history. Growing up as a child, he was very much a prankster, and he wasn't as religious as he is now. He loved learning and playing, and he hated reading and writing. Did not really enjoy that. However, his family made him always write in a journal, and he's very happy about that because since his family is gone, that's one of the main reasons he remembers so much about them. Growing up, he was very much nurtured by his mom and dad, but more so by his grand-mère. He loved his grand-mère. His grand-mère was from France, and since Asher knows French, they would always just talk in French, and they'd bond over that. And Asher was very much her favorite petite enfant, her favorite grandchild. His childhood ambition, his family wanted him to be a lumberjack just because of what his family was, and so they knew he would have work in that. But the only thing that Asher really wants was to go to school. He doesn't really know what for. He just knows he wants to go to school and to learn. Okay, now how does Asher deal with a conflict? Typically when he's responding to a threat, he first will reflect heavily on it, most likely go to his friends or family members if he can actually leave the situation to talk it out. But if he can't, he'll try to talk to the person who's threatening him, figure out a way that if he needs to throw a punch, he will, but that's his last resort. He'd rather talk it out. His biggest kryptonite is his family, friends, and reading. If Asher's house was on fire, the 2 things he would save is his journal and a wooden hippo that he made, Simeon, just because it's one of the main things that he had from his childhood with his biological family. Some of his biggest phobias is opening up to people, reading, and swimming. He does not swim very well. He does not like it. So we definitely know how to get Asher to feel very uncomfortable. You put him in a room full of a lot of people, you make him read to them, and you make the room be a pool. That would be his absolute nightmare of a place. He would have a full-blown panic attack in that. Work, education, and hobbies. Asher is currently in school where he's the vice president. He is the design editor for the yearbook, and he also sells wood crafts and paintings. So those are the main things he does. He loves school. That's what he wants to do most in life. He doesn't really know what he wants to learn or what he wants to do with school, but he just knows he wants to be there. Some of his past jobs is he's also worked as a carpenter for a little bit. Worked in an opera house because that's what his grandmères side of the family, they own an opera house. He also worked on a farm, did some furniture making, and did work on a lumber farm for a bit. So the boy has had a lot of jobs, but now he's just happy, content doing school pretty much. The boy is happy. His intelligence level is very high. He has the 2nd highest GPA at the school, so he's doing pretty good in the education department. However, his reading score is definitely bringing it down, so maybe that's the thing that Asher should work on next. The languages that Asher can speak is English, French, Spanish, Russian, and German. So he knows 5 languages. That's more than me. I know 1 language. Now, some of his favorite things. His favorite animal is a phoenix. I know it's not real, and I know Asher knows it's not real, but he loves phoenixes.
But if he has to pick a real animal, then it would be a dog, because who can go wrong with dogs? The animal he likes the least are lambs. It's not anything to do with the actual lambs. He just doesn't like the way they taste. He does not like eating them. Not his favorite meal. The place he'd most like to visit is France again, just because it's where his dad's side of the family's from. He only went there once, but he definitely wants to go again. For music, art, and reading, Asher definitely prefers art, then music, and then reading. The only book he will actually read and sit down and read is the Bible. Other than that, it's an audiobook, or he's just not going to do it. So pretty much if it has to do with like involving his hands, like making an art project, doing math, he's great at it. But if he has to like absorb something else, he doesn't want to do it. Not at all. His favorite color is sky blue. He loves the sky, he loves being outside, so that's definitely one of his favorites. In his possessions, he has a car, and the car is completely clean. The boy does not like his car to be dirty. He also keeps the first aid kit and an axe in there, just in case. So if you're in trouble, Asher definitely has stuff on hand to keep you safe, whether that be medically or physically. Because he likes painting, he painted his phone case to have a phoenix on it, his favorite animal, even if it is not a real animal. But still, if you made it this far in the video, hit a little fire emoji, or type fire if you can't find an emoji, just to show that you are cool and made it this far. Spiritually, Asher is very much a Christian, and he does believe that there is an afterlife, that there's a heaven and everything like that. If you had to pick a spirit animal, it would definitely be a phoenix, because he likes the whole idea of like rebirth and trying again and stuff like that. And he doesn't really want to pick a normal animal, to be honest. Spirit animal, it's a spirit animal, so he can pick a mythological animal. And his zodiac sign is Aquarius, because he was born in January. Now, in his daily life, unfortunately, Asher does have an allergy. He's allergic to celery. And before you say it, yes, that is a real allergy. You can look it up online. So that's very unfortunate for Asher. He has to definitely watch a lot of soups. Asher personally is a minimalist. He definitely likes his space to be clean, just as clean as his car. He does have like his art projects and stuff, but he doesn't like to keep a lot of them. Now for the miscellaneous questions. His hero is definitely God and Jesus and all the standard answers, but also his grandmère, just because she definitely taught him a lot and gave him a lot of the values he has, and he definitely loves her. If Asher dressed up for Halloween, I know it's gonna be weird, but one time he dressed up as a calculator. I told you the boy loves calculators, okay? But typically he just dresses up as a scientist or a mathematician. But yeah, he does. Every year he's like, should I dress up as a calculator? But then Sawyer, his best friend, talks him out of it, so he doesn't. But he always wants to. If he could save one person, it would definitely be Vice and Gwen, just because he wants to protect those two. And if there's one person he could call for help, it would be either Sawyer or Vice, just depending on the situation. It would be his grandmère, but unfortunately his grandmère's gone now, so. And if Asher won the lottery, well, he would never win the lottery because he doesn't gamble. So he's not even going to answer this question because it doesn't even apply to him. Personally, Asher's favorite fairy tale is Snow White. One of his favorite memories is going to see it in the theaters. He loved it, so that's definitely one of his favorite fairy tales. And personally, he doesn't really like any fairy tales with angels, just because he doesn't feel like it tells the story right. So he personally stays away from those kind of stories. Asher's idea of perfect happiness would definitely be a day in the sun with family and friends and just chilling. That's how you make Asher happy. You just go in the sun and you chill with him. Or you can just go in the sun and be by himself. Either way really works. He just wants the sun. And the last question is, what would he ask a fortune teller? And that's nothing, because he doesn't also believe in this stuff or trust that stuff. So he wouldn't really ask them anything, because he's got his morals and he sticks to them. He doesn't want to do it. Okay, so that is Asher Mandill's questionnaire. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to put in the comments if there's any questions you have about Asher, you can put those down there and I'll answer them. Unless they're plot related, then I won't answer them, but I'll tell you that I won't answer them for that reason, which will only let the air mystery arise, right? I've already done the main 2 characters questionnaires, Vice and Asher's, but I'm gonna let you guys decide the next one I do. There's 4 other sub characters that are kind of like the Hermione and Ron. You know, Harry's the main character, but the Hermione and Ron, so the side main friend characters, which is Sawyer, Fern, Hunter, and Lena. Sawyer is very much a comedian. Hunter's very much a golden retriever. Fern is very much like the bookworm. And then Lena she's like the shy girl, like the shy cute girl, if that makes sense. So you can also put this in the comments. I'll put a poll on Instagram and probably on YouTube. That way you guys can vote for which one you want next. And yeah, so please put those down in the comments or put it on the poll. I already know which one my sister's gonna pick because she definitely plays favorites. So she watches all these videos. But put those down in the comments for which one you want next. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.